described him as growling. He jumped off of that vehicle and he said, I didn't see him any longer. Well, that wasn't the end of his rampage. At that point in time, he goes up to a house of our victim at an undisclosed location in the area, and he busts through the front glass door. There is a glass insert from floor to ceiling. He's in the house. He's wild and out of control. In the house is a 9-year-old child, his mom, his dad, his grandma, and his granddad. So the young man, the father of the child, grabs a gun. They're on 911 calling for help. They're telling him and trying to control him inside their house. He grabs the glass, which didn't break when he broke through, and threw it at the homeowner, according to the initial information we're given. And that's when they shot him, and he went down. Our deputies arrived shortly, attempted to provide first aid for the suspect of the armed home invasion, to no avail. He was later pronounced deceased at Lakeland Regional. We know this, that the male that did all this carnage this morning, created all this fear, was a 45-year-old Hispanic male who was totally out of control. We've also learned that he was driving northbound on the old Polk City Road, and if you look, you can see marks where he's all over the road, and he crashes through, and his truck's up underneath those trees. With him is a female. We're interviewing her right now. The initial information she told us was that they came over from Orlando to meet someone in Polk County. And then at 6:10 this morning, this guy's totally wild, totally out of control, very dangerous, before he does a home invasion of this house, and he's shot by one of the homeowners and is now deceased. This is the second time in less than a week that homeowners have had to defend their property from burglars, from people trying to break in, from doing home invasions while they occupied their homes. From every indication at the beginning of this investigation, this homeowner was perfectly justified in what he did. But we don't make the final decision. We'll complete our reports, send them to the state attorney's office. We've already notified them of this investigation, and they will make the final determination. But all of the indications at this point were that the homeowner did exactly what he should have done. He protected his dad, his mom, his wife, and his 9-year-old child. So here's a message. Stay out of people's house. Stay out of their homes. If you don't, you'll end up like these last two guys have. You don't have a right to forcibly break into someone's home. To forcibly break into their home is a deadly, deadly decision. This was a very frightening event today. Now, as you know, this is all preliminary information. Everything I've told you here is subject to modification and update as the investigation goes on today. But we're confident at this point in the information, at this point in the investigation, that this information is as accurate as it can be this early. Are there any questions?
Did you say that he was bleeding when he jumped?
He was bleeding.
From what?
We don't know from what. We don't know if it was from the vehicle crash. We've also found a knife in the area of where he jumped on the two vehicles. But that's investigation and forensic work that will take some time to sort out. But it appears, and this is early in the investigation, we found a knife located in the area of where these vehicles were. It appears at this point in the investigation, in fact, we're absolutely confident we can see the blood all over these vehicles. Whether the incident happened from the crash, whether or not he cut himself, we don't know at this point. But we know he was dangerous. We know he put people's lives at risk. We know he tried to get in a school bus with a child. And our school bus driver is a hero today. God bless our school bus drivers.
What was the relationship between him and the female passenger?
We don't know what the relationship is at this early point, whether they're married or just friends. That's why we're not releasing his identity right this moment. We know that he has a criminal history. Duh. In reverence for his family, because they can't help what he did, we're not going to release his identity till we can make sure we've notified the proper family.
Did he say why he was acting that way? Was he under the influence?
Obviously, his behavior was erratic, it was irrational, and it was dangerous. This man's 6 foot and about 250 pounds. Our suspect is 6 foot, 250 pounds. He just jumped on a car and broke the front windshield out. He just barreled his way through this front door, this glass door, and knocked the glass out. It's a frightening event.
One shot, upper body?
We don't know how many shots at this point in the investigation, but we'll provide that later on.
When he went through the glass and this occurred, this is all in the living room at this point?
Living room.
So you don't know why he was acting this way?
Have no idea.
Doesn't it indicate drugs? I mean, most people, you have a crash, an accident, you call the authorities. You don't go nuts.
You know, it's supposition at this point in time. You know, my indication, this has K2 written all over it. This has meth written all over it. I could be totally wrong, but I can tell you this, that there's still people that'll tell you that drugs are low-level, non-violent. Well, duh, it's not true. It's just not true. We just know he was totally out of control. He was screaming and hollering. They're raping me. They're going to rape me. He was just absolutely bizarre in his conduct. He was frightening. He was a big man. He was a dangerous man. And now he's a dead man.
Can you estimate how many kids were in the school bus?
I don't know at this point in time how many were on the school bus. I know she stopped just to pick up a child, so I don't know if the bus was full or if it was her first stop. But you know what? That school bus driver did exactly what she's trained to do. She locked that door closed, and as soon as she could get around him, she drove away with a child safely delivered to school.
Is it just one kid, a male or female, and what age? Or what level?
Don't know.
Sheriff, can you describe the homeowner's actions?
I can describe that they're all shook up. They're scared to death. You have a man that's 6 foot and 250 pounds that's just busted into your house. He's crazy. He's tearing stuff up. He's erratic. He's throwing the glass out of the door at you. He won't comply. I can tell you that man tried to get the suspect under control a lot longer than I would have. When that dude hit the door, it would have been curtains for him at that point in time, but he did everything he could to avoid having to shoot him, even though he was in his house going wild. Okay? We'll update you when we have more information. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Was leaving